Hey everybody, this is Matthew Seville here with SLRlounge.com. In this weekly Lightroom edit, we have an ethereal seascape type image. I was just out enjoying the sunset alone, just kind of getting some peace and quiet. And I was testing an old Nikon manual focus lens. That was a lot of fun. It was the 15mm f3.5 manual focus AIS lens. One of the lesser known type ultra-wide lenses. It was decently sharp, it was fun. But anyways, so let's have a look at this image. I was shooting, the water was kind of moving around. I was really just enjoying the whole, the kind of the blur, the motion, the abstract, kind of fine art type image here. And so I wanted to kind of capture the serenity of the sunset, of the evening. So let's have a look at the original untouched image here. It's definitely, it looks like a dud, let's be honest. It looks really flat and kind of boring. So let's dive into it and see what we can do. What I'm going to be using is, I have the SLR Lounge preset system here for Lightroom 4. And I've got my mixologies. I'm going to go straight to the vivid landscape mixology and start with standard color. I like what it's doing, but it definitely needs a lot more punch because it was just such a flat image to begin with. So I'm going to start using the HDR presets. Light, strong, max. Even though there aren't, incredibly deep shadows or blown out highlights to recover, the HDR max preset really works for me, just in kind of overall juicing up the image. So let's see where we would go from here. I definitely need a little bit more pop, so I'm going to crank my overall vibrance up. As a landscape photographer, I tend to stay away from saturation overall, just because it's a little bit over the top most of the time. But I will use vibrance, so let's shift click it up to 20. Let's try 30. I like that. But I can see right away that the more I edit, if I were to turn this back down, kind of get some more blacks and just kind of overall, it's not going to do much for me. I need to start doing local burning and dodging to really get this image to look amazing. So I'm going to go back to these the HDR settings here that I had with everything completely maxed out. And I'm just going to hit K for my brushes. So I'm ready to hit my brushes here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the SLR Lounge presets for brushes. And the first one I'm going to do is I want to do sky, cloud, ocean here, because obviously I've got sky, I've got clouds, and I've got ocean. But I'm only going to brush it over the sky because I want to do something different to the ocean. The sky I want to darken. I want it to give it this deep blue, moody look, and I want to enhance the overall, the warm to blue transition there. So I really like it like that. But for the foreground, I've got different plans. So I'm going to hit Enter to save that brush, and then I'm going to go to my nature and color brush for the foreground. I'm going to start by just brushing it across once here to kind of give it a little bit overall enhancement. But I can see that it's kind of darkening things, and that's just the nature of where I am in the histogram. It might get darker, it might get brighter. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit my exposure up a little bit, maybe 0.3 stops up, so that the nature color enhancement brush also kind of brightens things up a little bit. And then when I brush the rest of the image, I'm going to brush in the direction of the motion of the waves, so that kind of enhances in that direction. I'm going to hit Enter, and then I'm going to go to my burning and dodging and do a little one-stop darken, so that again I can kind of enhance in the direction of this wave motion here. And this is definitely way too much, obviously, but I'm obviously going to throttle it back. And this is one thing I'll often do is I'll brush it on thick so that I can see where the brush is, where it's going. Kind of make it a little bit more like that. But then I'll click and drag to throttle it back to be where I want it to. So I'm going to drag to the right to increase the exposure to the right. And I'm going to drag it until it's barely noticeable, but it's still there. So let's hide and reveal these brushes. As you can see, I'm really enjoying the way that this the direction this image is going. But when I look at this image here, the untweaked, unburned and dodged image, I actually kind of, I think I've gone a little bit over the top with my overall burning and dodging. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start throttling back everything. I'm going to take my nature color and I'm just going to kind of grab it and drag it to the left or right. Oh, see, it's only affecting that one setting now, which is going to be kind of annoying. So I'm going to drag it until it is where I want it to be. But then I'm going to have to go here and manually kind of turn these settings down a little bit. The clarity needs to definitely go down. I'll leave the saturation up just to kind of do a little bit to this. But I'm going to do the clarity down. Next, I'm going to play with my my sky cloud ocean brush here and just kind of gently throttle it back a little bit overall. Notice how when it's a straight up, it kind of it adjusts these incrementally perfectly in sequence. So I can go almost all the way to 0, or I can go way over the top, or I can kind of drag it in somewhere in the middle, somewhere in between to, to find what I like. So I like it right about there. That looks nice and gentle. The overall image isn't too crazy, but then again, it kind of pops. So anyways, there you have it. That's what I would do to this image. It's, it's kind of a fine art type image, like I said, and some people will enjoy it and some people will kind of think it's boring, and that's just, this is just me enjoying a peaceful evening of landscape photography on the beach and, creating some abstract sort of images. So thank you so much for tuning in and we will see you next time. Take care.